Well, here we are in episode 9. Now, I should explain to you real quick before we get started what happened to episode 8. I have a little something special planned for episode 8, and I needed a little help with it. So I got myself a collab partner who's providing me with a few extra bits of material, which I'm still waiting for it to be tuned in because of how busy she's been. So episode 8 will be delayed. Until then, enjoy episode 9. So I just got back today from taking photos at yet another Ponyville fashion show. Thanks to Rarity living here, we've been getting quite a few of those over the past couple of years. Now, it was a very interesting experience. It all started when Rarity and Spike were handing out flyers. After giving one to Pinkie Pie, she tried to guess what the flyer was for. Having found a dog, having run out of balloons and needing to buy more, and having an interest in learning the guitar instead of sticking to the drums, Pinkie Pie hoped that the flyer would be advertising for at least one of those things, but it wasn't the case in this sense. It was in fact a flyer advertising for Rarity's newest fashion show. She's understood that it's hard to break into the fashion industry and wanted to help inspiring fashion designers get a little hoof up on the competition and help them get noticed by popular fashion designers so that they can break into the fashion industry and get their creative ideas expressed. Very generous on Rarity's part, and she's even wrangled up some very interesting judges. Hoity-toity, the fashion expert, herself of course, and my rival photo finish. I can't stand that pony. She poses ponies for everything, stages all of her photos. Her work looks so incredibly fake. And, getting back on track, let's not run off on a tangent here. The final judge Rarity got was Applejack, a highly unlikely pony in not just my opinion and every other pony's opinion, but in Applejack's opinion as well. I mean, what does Applejack know about fashion? But it was because Applejack is a highly practical and honest pony who doesn't know anything about fashion that Rarity really wanted the outsider's opinion as one of the judges. Applejack was extremely hesitant to take up this offer, and for good reason. She doesn't know anything about fashion, but she does know how to be honest and be practical, so she eventually agreed to help Rarity with the judging. However, once Applejack started judging the fashion designers, they quickly came to regret this, as everything Applejack was saying was a little bit too brutal in its honesty, and it ended up hurting feelings. Things got so bad, in fact, that all of the ponies involved quit the fashion show and left. Rarity, upset, took the time to teach Applejack her lesson by having her talk to a pony named Strawberry Sunrise, who has a great passion for strawberries and a great distaste of apples. When Strawberry started bashing Applejack's passion for apples and insulting apples and talking about how much she dislikes apples, it got Applejack understandably angry to the point where she was really ready to lose her temper. After calming down, Rarity made her realize that just as Strawberry had been hurtful to Applejack with her honest opinions, so too could Applejack's honest opinions be hurtful to the other ponies who have passions for things that are outside of Applejack's ability to understand. After getting the ponies who left the fashion show back and convincing them to hold the fashion show, despite not enjoying Applejack's opinions and doing it for Rarity's sake, things went off without any further issues. At the end of the fashion show, the deciding vote came down to Applejack, and unable to decide, she decided to go with every pony wins because they all worked hard. At the end, Applejack learned an important lesson, that she can have her honest opinion as long as that opinion is said in a way that respects the fact that others have passions and investment and hard work into things that she doesn't understand, and her opinions don't have the right to insult the things that other ponies are passionate about. It's a very important moral, and one that lots of people, myself included, need to learn, especially when discussing certain topics that can be highly polarizing, or even discussing things that I don't know about and particularly don't care for. Anyhow, here are some of the interesting thoughts from this whole experience. We got a wonderful update on the status of Coco Pommel, as she has now begun to produce and display her own works. While they may look ridiculous to Applejack, her fashion is in the public eye, and it has gained the attention of notable ponies, and she seems to be moving up in the world. Good for her. The fashion ponies' names were Lily Lace, Star Street, and Inky Rose. Inky Rose is a little bit too close to Ink Rose for some ponies' comfort, I imagine. I wonder what Ink Rose has to say about Inky Rose. Also, if you pay attention to the character designs, even though they have similar looks and similar personalities, this is not the same pony who was shopping in the Canterlot boutique and was way into the Luna-inspired fashions that Rarity designed along with the princess dress line. It's kind of obvious because one's a unicorn and Inky Rose is a Pegasus. Also, Star Street has some of the worst hair I've seen on pretty much any pony. If I was seeing any other pony with hair of this style, I would say that looks so unrealistic. No other pony has that hair. Where did you even come up with this idea? But now it seems like this type of hairstyle is actually possible. When Rarity was feeling stressed, Pinkie Pie handed her the guitar to try and see if she could get her stress out by playing a little. And she took it and thrashed on that thing like a heavy metal rocker with the head banging and the fire behind her and all of the aggression. Pretty impressive that you can get an electric sound out of an acoustic guitar, especially when it's not plugged in. But the entire sequence seemed completely out of nowhere, very surprising, could have completely been done without, but it's probably extremely meme-worthy. It was a great joy to see new ponies and to actually find them interesting. I wouldn't mind seeing any of the three fashion designers or the strawberry-loving pony again at some point. And it was nice to see Hoity Toity and Photo Finish again. Even if Photo Finish has better equipment than me, better talent than me, more clients than me, takes better photos than me, and constantly causes me to lose business, and I can't stand the way she poses her photos and how photos. But yeah, it was fun to see her again, and I wish her nothing but the best and hope that all of these ponies in today's story come back to Ponyville at some time, and that this won't be the last we see of them. I'm not really sure if Spite and Pinkie Pie were actually needed for this. They didn't really add anything to the story, and, even though we needed like a little transition and maybe an extra character to bounce ideas off of, we ultimately really did not need Pinkie Pie or the guitar. Certainly didn't have any use for Spite in this either. There are lots of ponies besides Applejack who could have taken this role instead of her. This episode could actually have removed Applejack completely and put in any number of others in her place, and it would have still been the same story. Applejack was completely unnecessary in her own story, as we could have had the exact same brutal honesty, judging, complications, hating fashion, having opinions that hurt others, being blunt about your opinions and hurting feelings, and not getting fashion and thinking fashion was ridiculous. All of that stuff that makes up Applejack are also qualities that we would find if Spite had been a judge, which perhaps could have been a more interesting story if Spite's feelings for Rarity were influencing his choices. This exact same story could have also happened with Rainbow Dash, who also doesn't get fashion and would also think that fashion was stupid and that the ponies were being silly and that the dresses were impractical, and would have been able to have used brutal honesty to point out flaws and stuff, and would have been just as reluctant to have done the judging. So actually, in an episode about Applejack, Applejack herself could have been removed, replaced with another pony, and it would have been the same story. Anyhow, that's about all I have to say about that. Thank you for watching, and good night. That seems to have wrapped up. Now, let's see if I can figure out what happened to episode 8. Oh, hey! There you are, and there's episode 8. Do you think I can have it, please? Hey, wait, come back!